Hello, welcome back to another VOD review. Today we're going to be reviewing DefectDoll once again, but this time on the Ana. And we're on Nepal. I've already watched this before recording this video, so I would just like to say there's gonna be a main theme here, which is positioning. And it's extremely important on Ana because you have literally no movement abilities at all, and therefore every step you make is crucial and is so important because it can decide whether you live or just flat out die. And if you look at our comp, first of all, we have the Soldier and Zen, very stationary DPS and support picks. So, as Ana, if you see a comp like this, you want to play within. You want to be relatively close to them, so you guys can peel each other. You're basically undivable. Like when Soldier drops his heal pad, you can nade and just literally the heal pad is a transcendence. It's insane. Combine that with the Zen's orb and your healing shots, you guys are invincible. So first big mistake is walking into the bubble. It's kind of understandable because like I get it, because the bubble, you can't heal through the bubble and your tanks are trapped inside. There's also enemies around them, so the only way to heal them quickly is to go into the bubble and just nade them or something. But however, if you look closely, the tanks, I don't know how good the quality is in the video, but your tanks are actually at full HP in the bubble, full HP. The only enemies in the bubble, or the only enemies that can shoot the tanks, are Tracer and Winston. Combine that with the fact that your tanks are full HP, your tanks are not in danger whatsoever, so you should have waited outside the bubble instead of going to the bubble. But let's say they were low HP. You went into the bubble and you naded them, which is good. It nades you, it heals you too because Tracer was on you. But then you retreated down the stairs and you didn't even look who was downstairs. You just retreated, like you just backed up into the, as we're gonna see, you backed up into the enemy Moira, enemy Lucio, and the Ryan just close by. Here you can see the Ryan on low ground. So you gotta, before you do anything, or actually before you move anywhere, always double check, or just always think, like, is it safe here? Can I be isolated here? Stuff like that. Criteria that you need to just check off in your head mentally before you move places. Like you just get cut off by Lucio. A really good sleep, by the way. However, it's not gonna do anything because you're gonna get cut off by Reinhardt. And as a result of going down here, arguably, well, if you were still up there, you could have maybe saved Soldier. Zen looks like he's gonna die, so you could maybe save Zen. And the fight would have been so much in your favor. Probably. We can't say for sure, but probably. 3 of your team goes down. However, I think you guys might get the point here. Yeah, you guys get the point, so that was pretty lucky, but you should always play safe, and I could have just thrown the round right there. As we go up, we're gonna near the second fight here, deciding on where to play, and our hero does decide to play on the left side, closer to these buildings here. A good spot. But when you're playing here, your Zen, I'd say play near your Zen and Soldier, but your Zen and Soldier is in a bad spot for you. Like they're on the outside of the wall, they're outside the point. So if you were playing near them, you can't heal the guys inside. So this is a good position. You could even peek right to heal them, or peek left to heal people on point. So not bad. So when the flankers come at you, you're supposed to run to your team, because your team is running to your team is a far more better option than getting 1v2'd in isolation, because you back up into this corner and you kind of get trapped You have nowhere to run to. Your teammates are not really nearby, besides Genji, of course. But there's only so much Genji can do against two flankers, a Reaper and Tracer, which can melt you really easily. And as a result of this, you're out of the fight. For some reason, Zen and Genji are fighting a Winston all the way back here. Zen should have been on point as well, or at least near you. So Zen dies because of walking backwards into isolation. And good sleep attempt. And you actually end up killing Winston, and you'll be ending up killing the Tracer as well. And that's a really good, okay, that's a really good pick. However, your team completely dies on point because there's no healers, no nothing on point. And if you stayed on point, you would have maybe be able to win the fight. Maybe. Or at least your chances would be a lot higher if you stayed on the point. And the boost is kind of questionable. You didn't press tab to check if any of your DPS had ults. So that if Genji had ult here, then you would have wanted to boost him. But instead you boost Ryan at when he's far away from the fight. And you don't really want to boost Reinhardt if you don't have Lucio when he's far away from the point, because he can't do anything, and he's, as you can see here, he's just wasting the nano boost duration. He's trying his best to get on point, but more than half of the duration is wasted. And then Genji uses Blade, and if you had boost for Blade, that would have been a lot better. So the next fight, your team swaps to Winston Hog. When you're playing with Winston, you always gotta keep tabs on the Winston. But I can understand the situation. It was dicey. There were people diving on your team, and your team was getting damaged. But always try to prioritize, like just before the match or whenever the team switches, just mentally make a checklist of, okay, who's my healing priority here. Like in the Mercy video, I briefly talked about it. So on to the second point. Your team still runs triple tank. Triple DPS. One tank, which is Roadhog, but he's gonna swap over to D.Va. It's gonna be hard to take this point. I don't like Ana on this point either because it's so condensed and you're really prone to dive, to be getting dove on this point. There's not many places to run either, and you can't really make use of your range. Going into this first point, it's a good position our hero is taking. Very good. The enemy team has no dive heroes, so sitting back here is totally fine. Another thing I want to say is you have to use your shots efficiently, or as efficiently as possible. You want to get the most value out of your shots. For example, this is like not the best example, but we'll see more later in the video. So there's a solo Lucio on point, right? But then you choose to hit your own Lucio and your Torbjorn. That's basically full HP instead of going for the Lucio. The point is you have to, or try to look for the most value shots you can take, because you don't want to be wasting shots. And wasting shots will lead to you having to reload mid-fight or during a crucial time. Your ammo is really scarce, and there's a minor positioning error there. Almost costed you your life, and could have costed you your game. And again, don't really want to be running back into isolation. Even though the grav was there, your team was in the grav, you could have ran to this corner of the point, which is probably safer than running back into isolation. Good sleep, big nade, big kill, nice. You don't need to be healing D.Va there. Instead of wasting time and wasting shots looking at heroes that are full HP, it's better off just looking at the enemy team and seeing what's gonna come up next and just thinking ahead, like what you should do and where you should be. Lucy gets hooked, that's bad. Good position here. And I like how you're kind of hugging the walls more in this video too. Very bad positioning here. You run off into the enemy team and lose this fight. Maybe because of that. It's hard to say, but always try to... I keep saying this, but yeah, always try to keep in mind of where you are on the map. Your team gets it to 99 though, which is pretty good. I'm gonna skip ahead to this fight. So you, at the start of the fight, you don't need to be healing D.Va. You should be looking at other places to shoot. Good nade on the Rhine. Good, almost. And again, you're backing up into very, very, very dangerous territory. It's hard to say if your positioning was... Because the question that you asked when you linked me the VOD was if you caused your team to lose. It's hard to say, but what's certain is if you positioned better, your team would have a greater chance to win. Like, I didn't pay attention to your teammates too much, but I'm sure they made each one of them made equal like amount of mistakes. Like they all made mistakes that contributed to the loss. Alright, so what it comes down to is be aware of your positioning and always think before you move, or always double check. Make a mental checklist of things you have to do before you actually do them. And this applies, or for this video at least, it applies mostly to positioning. Always think before you move. Always keep track of what the safest spot is and where the dangerous spots are on the map, because you don't want to move into the dangerous spots. And you did that a lot this game. The second thing is try to make the most use of your shots. Don't hit your teammates that are near full HP or that are healthy. If your teammates are healthy, just try to look for shots on the enemies, because your gun deals a lot of damage. It can help turn the tide of fights. And always try to play near your other support and stationary DPS so you guys can peel for each other. And always try to press tab a lot more often to keep track of who has ult and who you should nano boost. And that concludes this VOD review. Hopefully you learned something once again, and I will see you in the